Today, it is crazy hot. I think today's the first day it's gone over 90 degrees in New Orleans. You can see my head is red. Yep, I know, I need a hat or sunscreen or something. But today, we're going on a garden tour to City Park. Okay, so we're at City Park. We're at the Sydney and Walda Besthoff Sculpture Garden. I'm super attached to this one. I built this garden as a landscape contractor in 2003, and it was one of the most difficult jobs that I ever built, and there were tons of things inside of here that I never knew what I was doing. I shouldn't say that. So this is probably the most shaded area of the garden. And you can see that it's filled with variegated ginger and Sasanqua camellias, as well as holly fern. They perfectly grow underneath the canopy of these beautiful oak trees. You can even see the moss. So one of the super challenging things with this garden was these extremely mature oak trees, and we were gonna add as much as 4 feet of soil over the top of them, which, you know, by all mathematical calculations would immediately kill these trees. So we used the landscape architect, Brian Sawyer, used a consultant, and they found a material that was super light, that we built basically like a bridge over the tree root structures, and then it allowed us to put soil on top of it. So in some of these places we would have 2 to 3 feet of this special soil that was, again, super lightweight, and it allowed the water actually to run along the ground and air to get to the root structure, and then we would add on top of that. It's underneath like the pathways. I think there's like 3,500 linear feet of these little 4x4 cobblestones, as well as every one of these oak trees. When we did the landscape, we actually installed the lightweight aggregate so that we could add soil to, like, in a sense, plant the turf. It was crazy, and it was crazy expensive. So I was telling you before, this is one of the areas, as you can see, as it rises up, this is probably the best place to see it. So if you look just over there at the tree roots, we raised this pathway almost 5 feet to meet that bridge. And so the soil that we put underneath the pavers here was an expanded rock that actually allowed the soil to run. I mean, like I said, soil. It was an expanded rock that allowed the water to actually run underneath it to protect trees like this right here. As you can see, these beautiful cypress trees as well as these oak trees. And when I tell you, I mean, we added a crazy amount of soil, like a crazy amount of soil. So there's 3 bridges, cast stone bridges on the property, one in the middle and one on each end, that bring you from side to side. So this section is known as the Great Lawn. As you can see, it's It's a massive lawn area inside, planted underneath these oaks. During the construction process, as you can see just over there, you'll see a black membrane. It's actually a soil retention device, and that soil retention device goes about 5.5 feet below the ground, and it's actually driven in with long spikes. What this does is it helps with the raising and lowering of the water to actually keep the embankment, as you can see here, growing. So just before the garden opened, I think it was late 2002 in October, there was 21 inches of rain that fell in about 4 or 5 hours in New Orleans. And actually the water was all the way up to the pathways. And once the water went down, we actually had to reconstruct the entire embankment to actually then put the geo grid in so we could get the soil and the planting done. As you can see, it perfectly fits. I mean, look how awesome that is. Right at the water line, the Asian jasmine goes right down to it. right, so we just took a tour of the sculpture garden, and you'll notice the planting palette is really, really small. So we have the treeform ligustrum, you have holly fern, you have some Indian hawthorn, a couple different varieties of ginger, you have crinum lilies, tons of Asian jasmine. You've got mondo grass, or the dwarf mondo grass, I should say. You have the St. Augustine palmetto turf that fills both the great lawn and then the pine lawn. And you've got live oaks that were installed in various spots. You have the little gem magnolia, which is probably if I remember correctly, I think we planted like 60 or 70 of them along the fence lines to create a hedge, because they'll grow just tall and dense enough to create some privacy and then put off that beautiful flower with both the dense color foliage as it is. As well as there is the agapanthus for color and around, and there's a few other varieties of plants, but that's really it. I know there's some camellias, pittosporum, both in the variegated and just the regular green. So it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful garden to visit. It's here at City Park. It's just to the side of the New Orleans Museum of Art. You enter right in the front. You come right in. It's free. It's open from 10, I believe it's from 10 to 5, 7 days a week, but you're gonna wanna check that.